Welcome, everybody. I think we're ready to get started. Marina.
Thank you. Thank you, Irene. Welcome, everyone who came to the meeting today. It is a great honor for us to present to you a topic that is extremely important and real for the parenting student population. We're about to make a mini revolution in social attitudes toward those students who are trying to juggle a lot of duties between college and family. And we need a fresh perspective on this issue. We want global changes, and we start with a rebranding. From now on, we are not parenting students, but we are studenting parents. Today's presentation was created by a large team of students, staff, and faculty who know about the problems that studenting parents face, not by hearsay. And on this page, you can see the names of everyone who worked on this presentation. So today's presenters are Marina Abramian, Gaina Rakelan, Annie Bahumian, and Rosanna Kotishan. Now is Annie's turn. Please, Annie, you are welcome to continue.
Thank you so much, Marina. Good morning, dear faculty members. Now that Marina introduced us, let's begin this presentation, shall we? We promise it's going to be fun and interesting. We as students wish that this presentation will be a good source for faculty members and will provide some learning outcomes, such as faculty will be able to define a studenting parent. Faculty will gain insights into the challenges and feelings of studenting parents. Faculty will know the achievement and equity gaps for studenting parents. And last but not least, faculty will know how to redesign their courses with consideration for the needs of studenting parents and their children. Next slide, Erin. Thank you. Let's see what we have for today's syllabus. You will hear real stories from us. We'll show you some data, talk about Title IX. You will see what's at stake. We'll give you some recommendations and homework, and there will be room for questions. Thank you. Next slide, Erin. Thank you so much. Dear faculty, before starting the presentation, we want to define a term we came up with which better describes who we are, a studenting parent. Who is a studenting parent, or what is a studenting parent? A studenting parent is a person whose primary role is that of a parent and guardian. Our path has led us to education later in life, and with extreme hope and aspirations for a better future for ourselves and our children, we add students to our identity. In addition to all other responsibilities, roles, and intersections, we do a lot in our lives, but we are parents first. Thank you. Marina, you can continue.
Hello again, my dear guests. I want to personally introduce myself. I am Marina, and I am a third-year student at GCC. My major is business administration, and I have big ambitions for my future in this area. I am very proud to be a mother and student at the same time. I am a studenting parent. I have two amazing children, Karen, who is 16 years, and Natalie, who is 10 years old. And you can see them pictured here in San Diego 1 month ago. Here you see me as a mother, but I want to tell you a little about myself as a student. Studying is not easy for me. I am married, not young, and I am a language learner who needs 2 or 3 times more time to study the material than someone who is fluent in English. But at the same time, I set myself the task of finishing college with the highest GPA. And so far, I have succeeded. I feel I have waited too long to complete my education. And now I need to get the most out of my time at GCC. I have set for myself a very high bar because I want to secure a good future for my children. And a high GPA is a key to transfer to a competitive university and get a high-paying position. When I started to think about why I went back to school and at my age set up such a high goal with the highest GPA, I realized that I also have some psychological motives. And this is a consequence of my inner experiences. Actually, I try to prove, first of all, to myself that I deserve the place that I hold in a class. In the process of achieving my goal, I often forget about sleep, health, rest, and sometimes I'm not able to carry out my usual duties related to family and children. By thinking that this is my last chance to receive the degree which I desire, I sacrificed my usual life to achieve my goal. I want you to understand that the studenting parents put everything at stake to be in your class. Education turned out to be a difficult test for my family members. One day, my daughter asked me when I would finish my education, and she began to cry when I answered that I'm going to transfer and need another 2 or 3 years. I never ask teachers for favors because I'm afraid of being rejected. I don't want to seem weak. If the college had a system of helping student parents, I would definitely use them because it would simplify my already difficult life. It is vital for student parents to know that we can count on your support as we go through this difficult period. And I want to confess to you that I have felt guilty every day for taking someone else's place at GCC, who is younger, not married, healthier, without problems related to family and children, with good knowledge of the language, more energetic, and perhaps considered more promising. I want to feel that GCC is my safe learning space too, but not only for young single students. And I feel very tired of trying to prove every single day to the college, to my fellow students, to myself, and to all of my professors that I want to be here and that I deserve to be here. Thank you for listening. Next, I pass my turn to my colleague. Please, Gayane, continue.
Thank you, Marina. Hello, everyone. My name is Gayane Arakelian. I have a biology major. I have 2 daughters, Lucy and Mary. They are 2 and 4 years old. Goals are something I set for myself daily. They have helped me accomplish many things I saw as being impossible with kids. My future goal is to continue to study at the university and become a doctor of pharmacy. I need to have an adaptable mindset in my future career and become a role model for my kids. I will obviously need to be on my A game at all times. So I need to have an excellent academics. So as a parenting student, it makes difficulties for me to take my chemistry and biology classes. As a 4th-year student who is getting ready to transfer, I want to gain a variety of experiences and information about new cultures so that I'm involved in many activities. As a studenting parent, this requires incredible time management skills. I want to share one of the stories that I have during my educational process as parenting student. In 2018, I tried to transfer to main campus from Garfield campus. During that time, I had to take care of my 2 kids until afternoon. I was also working during the day, so I needed to register for evening classes. When my first credit classes began, I encountered many barriers with financial aid and trying to add classes late, but the Welcome Center wasn't open in the evening to help me. As I had missed paperwork, I dropped my classes. However, I started my path on main campus only 1 year later in fall 2019. That time, I had a flexible schedule to manage my time the best for me. Education is the passport for the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Next is going to introduce by herself Rosanna. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayane, for sharing your story with us. Hello, everyone. My name is Rosanna Kudishian, and I'm a proud parenting student at the Glendale Community College. My major is real estate. I have an only child. She is 8 years old, and her name is Maria. During my education path at the GCC, as a student parent, I have faced many challenges, but I am so happy that I overcame them in positive ways. In spite of all difficulties that I have had as a student parent, I hope that one day I will build my bright future in the United States and will be proud to be a good student parent model for my child. I want to share with my own real story. I'm a low-income student parent and I do not own a car. I walked my child to school and as a result, I missed the bus. I arrived late and missed my test. I went from an A in the class to a C. I was told by my instructor that I should have taken an Uber. I think she didn't consider that I'm a low-income student parent. This situation makes me feel misunderstood and was hurt. Thank you for your attention. Next is Ani.
Thank you so much, Rosanna. Dear faculty members and dear professors, before introducing myself, I want to say thank you for being here. It's a pleasure for us and we appreciate it. I'm Ani Bagumian. My major is child development. I'm a single mother of 2 wonderful children. My Eliza is 11 and my David will be 8 soon. I'm a first-generation immigrant and I'm a first-generation English learner, but that doesn't stop me from thinking about transferring to a 4-year university. I have 2 priorities in my life, my children and education. And when I talk about education, of course it's good when you have 4.0 GPA or you are getting straight A's, but education is more for me than that. Education is the key to more secure and successful life. As a single mom, I'm more vulnerable to economic changes, and I understand that a good education and degree will help me to provide for my family and secure my children's future. The first story, dear faculty, I want to share with you happened to the student I mentor. She was 9 months pregnant and almost finished with her class, with the semester. However, she couldn't continue, and she went to her professor and asked him, "What should I do? What can I do?" And the professor told her to drop the class. I wish he would tell her to get an incomplete, because now she had to start the semester and the class from the beginning, and it was very hard for her. Thank you. Marina, go ahead.
Thank you, Ani, for your amazing story. This is a time for my second story. This story is about Anna, who is a college student. He knew about her heart illness in the middle of the spring semester. This student received radiation treatment during which she could not communicate with anyone and was far from her family. But no one in college found out about this because she did not ask for any favors. Anna knew that for a secure future for her children, she must continue to study. She fought her fears alone, far from her family, but did not put down her books even for a day. On the one hand, her online classes distracted her from the problems, thereby helping her in a difficult period. But on the other hand, her health needed rest. At that time, she had passed half a semester and did not want to drop the class. Despite all the difficulties, she finished the class with an A. This story is not about what the college could but did not do to help the student. But this story is about how mature and motivated parenting students in their learning. It is this kind of attitude towards learning that requires respect and understanding from the college. Student parents are an unusually strong-willed and at the same time sensitive group of students. The college has a system of accommodations for a student with special needs. And in every class syllabus, there is a part that is mentioned class policies apply specifically to this group. Why not have a special policy for student and parents? Because we also require special attention from you. Thank you. This is Guyana's turn. Please, Guyana, continue.
Thank you, Marina. I'm sure that all of you will agree with me that teachers need to make time to understand who their students are, but not who they wish they were. One of my parenting friends, who was a GCC Garfield campus student, had financial assistance problem. She is a single parent. Just after the semester started, she found that it is so expensive to buy books and supplies for the class. As being a single mother, she had a lot of expenses. When she informed about that to her professor, the professor said that she could not be on class without having the prerequisite books. So she dropped the class by thinking that expenses were better used for raising kids. Now, again, you can listen to Rosanna's story.
Thank you, Guyana, for bringing up your story. During remote times, I was told that my children should not be in the background on my Zoom screen or pass by. I was told by my instructor to control my child. I felt really hurt because as a mother, the first thing I want to do is protect and keep my child in a safe atmosphere. So I decided to drop my class, even though I only had a month left in class. Thank you for your attention. Next is Ani.
Thank you, Rosanna. Dear Professor, the second story and the last story I want to share with you, and I want to share with you, happened to me. I was in ESL class, and it was years ago, and I was doing really well, and I wanted to get rid of my accent. And I went to my professor, who I liked a lot. I liked the way he was teaching, and I asked him, Professor, what can I do to drop my accent? And he said, you know, Ani, at your age, it's almost impossible to drop your accent, so take it easy. Dear faculty, years passed, but even now I get emotional. I'm sorry, and I feel bad about myself when I remember about this incident. Excuse me. But I'm sure that if he knew how his words would impact me, he would never say them. I apologize. Now that we shared with you some challenges we or our students experienced in our time at GCC, we want to highlight some important data. And this part will love our professors who like numbers. COSA data shows that 18% of students at GCC are defined as student-ing parents. However, the number is much bigger. You will ask, why aren't student-ing parents visible? Well, reasons are different. Parents are identified only through financial aid applications, so the number of student parents is almost certainly underestimated. These data include only credit students. And lastly, FAFSA asks, do you now have or will you have children who will receive more than half of their support from you in a given time period? And most of the student-ing parents answer no to this question. The wage gap for women often makes them ineligible to answer yes to this question. All these facts lead us to conclude that student-ing parents are underrepresented. Our success is not only based on our academic achievement, but on our ability to stay in balance physically, emotionally, socially, and financially. However, the fact of being underrepresented makes it even more challenging for us. Thank you. Guyana, you can continue with data.
Thank you, Ani. First of all, I want to indicate that nationally, at least 1 in 5 college students is parenting a child. It is clear that if these parenting students complete their degrees, both they and their children could expect improved social, economic, and health outcomes. So let's help them to success in life. What about the next point? It is the results of the survey in which responded more than 23,000 parenting students. So the first point is that 53% of parenting students were food insecure in the prior 30 days. 68% of parenting students were housing insecure in the previous year, and 70% of parenting students were homeless in the previous year. Clearly, while rates of basic needs insecurity are substantial among nearly all college students, they are especially high among parenting students. Moreover, parenting students are more likely to face increased time and financial demands, including childcare costs. Next slide, please. Besides knowing the parenting students' financial stability, it is also important to know about parenting students among specific subgroups. So we cannot understand the full picture for our indigenous, American, Indian, Black, and Latinx students until we overlay their identities as parents. First, students from minoritized background are more likely to be parenting while in college. For example, 22% of Black students and 70% of Hispanic or Latinx students compared to 50% of white students. I want to mention that this general trend is consistent with national figures. And second, what's about when considering the intersection of race and gender, we find that Black female-identified students are particularly likely to be parenting in college. Latinx females and white females have more similar rates of parenting during college. Next slide, please. Now I am going to speak about GCC's outcome of students with children that are identified only through financial aid application. So the number of student parents is almost certainly underestimated. Only credit students' enrollments and outcomes are shown. First, I will show the comparison of the course rotation rate of students with children that are in FAFSA with students without children that are in FAFSA during fall 2018 to fall 2020. I want to mention that the blue part is about FAFSA students with children and the orange part is about FAFSA students without children. You can look at the graph here. Thus, when we are going to see the grand total percentages of the course rotation rates of these two groups within 5 semesters together, we can see that the first group's rate is 88.5% and the second group's rate was 84.4%. Irene, next slide, please. What about next graph? This is about the comparison of the course success rate. The color separation is the same here. So blue part is about FAFSA students with children and the orange part is about FAFSA students without children. So the grand total percentages of the course success rates are shown on the end. Thus, we can see that the course retention rate for first group was 81.3% during fall 2018 to fall 2020, and the course retention rate for FAFSA students without children was 72.9%. And finally, the last graph is about persistence to next semester. You can look at the graph here. So when we are going to see the grand total percentages for the persistence to the next semester for FAFSA students with children and FAFSA students without children, we can see that the first group's persistence for next semester was 81% and the second group persistent to next semester was 76.5%. Clearly, this shows that, however, during in that 5 semesters together, the enrollment rate of FAFSA students with children are low by comparing it with FAFSA students without children. The course retention rate, success rate, and persistence to next semester are higher for parenting students by comparing it non-parenting students. Thank you. Next is Marina.
Thank you, Gaine, for your amazing data. And now I want to continue to talk about GPA. We found out about the number of students with children from the FAFSA line, which is called parenting student. And unfortunately, this is the only resource that shows the data on studenting parents, but it allows us to separately analyze this group of students and make an opinion about their progress. Even though studenting parents meet a lot of obstacles, data shows that they earn better grades than other students groups. Studenting parents are often motivated to pursue college by desire to improve their children's life. While a range of obstacles can impede their ability to graduate on time, studenting parents achieve higher grade point averages, GPA, than other students. If you look at the GCSE data, you can see that studenting parents population have higher GPA compared to general students population, both in 2018 and 2019. Thank you. Please, next slide, Irene. Despite the encouraging numbers of the previous slide, this slide shows an alarming trend that the percentage of parents receiving an associate degree in 4 years, this is a blue line, is much lower compared with students without children, orange line. The same dynamics are in the second graph, which shows that the percentage of studenting parents transferring to university, blue line, is much lower than students without children, orange line. How can it be that studenting parents who represent the group of students with higher grades of academic performers are not so successful in their subsequent studies as students without children? It hurts us to see this gap, and our efforts are aimed at understanding and finding some solutions for this issue. We know that family should always be a priority, and this is an undeniable truth. But our education is the basis for the future success of our children. And if the college treats us with more understanding by slightly changing some of its rules, we expect positive dynamics on this timeline. Studenting parents are one of the most vulnerable groups of students because we are constantly trying to balance between the need for education, decent childcare, and family needs. Trying to balance all these processes that sometimes tend to get out of our control, very often we face problems that are difficult to solve on our own. And sometimes we really need the support and understanding from the college and teaching staff. Please, Rosanna, you can continue.
And thank you so much, Marina, for helpful information. Here is information regarding national achievement gaps for parenting students. Only 37% of studenting parents complete a degree or certificate within 6 years, compared with 59% of students without children. While about half of women earn a degree within 6 years of enrolling in college, only 8% of single mothers earn a degree in the same time frame. Next slide, please. GCC wasn't designed for studenting parents. Let's not let guided pathways leave studenting parents out, or the achievement gaps will never be closed. Thank you. Next is Annie.
Thank you, Rosanna. Thank you so much. Dear faculty, dear professor, now we'll talk about Title IX. Next slide, Darren. Thank you. Title IX is a protection for pregnant and parenting students. Did you know Title IX protects students who are pregnant, parenting, or have terminated a pregnancy? Title IX guarantees excused absences and the opportunity to make up all missed work. Dear professors, are your classes in compliance with these Title IX protections? Title IX is a law that bans sex discrimination in schools that get federal funds. Title IX makes it illegal to exclude students who may be, are, or have been pregnant from an educational institution. Sadly, most students do know about these privileges and about these rights and never use them. I'm a CalWorks student, and I have a CalWorks team on my back, and two wonderful and amazing women, our director, Aaron Edwards, and my case manager and my meta mentor, Pamela Rosas, are always there for me and they support me any way they can. However, there are so many student think parents that have no support. Dear professors, you can be their support. This summer, we had the GCC student who gave birth on August 5th, and she took her math exam on August 6th from her hospital bed. This incident shows that both sides were unaware of Title IX. That's why I'm sure and I think that not only students, but professors should know about Title IX and implement them. Thank you so much. Marina, you can continue.
Thank you, Annie. This is really important information. And now we want to ask you a question. Do you ever think what is at stake if positive changes occur in the educational experience of students and parents? We assure you that positive changes will be mutually beneficial for both sides, students and college, and we want to tell you about some of them. Please take some time to think about how to organize the student and parents education process as efficiently and low stress as possible. Do you ever wonder what would happen if GCC classes were designed with student and parents in mind? First of all, these are the economic benefits for the college. We expect an increase in the number of graduates and transfers for Pell students. Remember the funding formula. There are also benefits for society. We could see more educated parents, hence a more informed and educated society. We would expect a lot of benefits from increased social awareness, which means that educated parents motivate their children to study and go to college. We all know how high academic performance is closely related to college rankings. Higher enrollment rates and fewer dropouts will act on higher college rankings. One of the most important aspects is emotional satisfaction. Therefore, having received positive results, we will be satisfied with the work done and will become prouder of GCC. Finally, perspective should always be a priority. Therefore, by helping today, we expect to see changes in society tomorrow. Thank you. Please, next, Irene. Let's stop for a minute and try to imagine what challenges students and parents are facing during their education. Distractions caused by our children. I think each of you had cases when your student's child began to cry or interfere during the class. Unequal opportunities and competition with non-parenting students. It is much easier for any instructor and even employer to deal with a non-parent, and we have to compete just because we have children. Difficulties with childcare. Be honest with yourself and think about how many times you didn't give an opportunity to make up tests or assignments for students who were faced childcare problems. Instructor policies that require cameras on all the time. We know cases when the student and parent had to drop the class because the instructor was obliged to always have cameras on. Timed exams with our children at home. Those of you who have a small child, can you imagine a terrible situation when a child choked something and began to cough badly during the parent times exam? while the parent is trying to help his child, he or she will miss the assignment. Not knowing our rights as parenting students. Why should a student parent rush to take the exam 2 days after giving birth to the child? Who should inform her about her rights, if not you? Being underrepresented. Who can show us policies or rules where we are represented as a separate group? We have very little chance of finding such a thing. Unsure of ourselves. We are not just unsure of ourselves, we are not sure how we can become good students for you, being initially problematic studenting parents. Dealing with life crisis, divorce, work issues, financial issues, health issues. How much self-control and stress management should have a woman who is left alone with 2 children in the middle of the semester? Do you ever think about it? Developing student identity, learning how to be students again. Did you know that many of us absolutely did not plan to become a student again? And we need at least time to cope with this new role. Unresolved life issues, negative past experiences of learning that create additional anxiety. Many of us have additional sources of worry that create anxiety and prevent us from effectively engaging in education. As adult learners, we face challenges in gaining a place, a position, a voice, and a related sense of valued self in the cultural world of higher education. Please, next. Besides that we want to be heard today, we have a task for you. You always give homework to your students. And today we want to give you professor's homework by asking you to think about our recommendations. Please, next. We recommend developing more flexible working hours for studenting parents. Why don't you become a master of paradox? Give us some flexibility in the schedule while staying true to the structured course. Listening is not hearing. Try to listen to our needs. Let us know that we can count on your help when we run into parenting challenges. We need to know that we will be heard. Help us learn more about our rights by adding the parent website and Title IX to your syllabus. Come up with an alternative to timed exams for studenting parents. Do not forbid us to bring children to class when we have no other choice. Motivate us often because we need to feel our belonging to class, which needs to be a safe space for us. Feel free to show that you understand the difficulties that studenting parents face. Become more open and empathic. Become the initiator in the matter of aligning GUSD holidays with GCC holidays, since during every spring and fall school holidays, we face childcare problems and think how not to fail our classes. Don't make rules that are associated with prohibiting children from the Zoom box. We ourselves are interested in not causing inconvenience to the class, but this does not always depend on us. Please don't shame us publicly. Be more intentional with your comments. Thank you. Please, Rosanna, you can continue.
Thank you, Marina. Did you know about GCC's new parenting students website? Visiting there, you can find helpful information regarding student parents. Next slide, please. Also, we have GCC Student Parents Title IX website. Part of our parenting student website is a whole page about Title IX. Visiting the website, you can see information regarding pregnant and studenting parents' rights. Again, we will share the link in the chat. Next slide, please. Also check out GCC's CalWorks website. All of the students presenting today's workshop are CalWorks students. Again, we will share the link in the chat. Thank you. Next is Marina.
Thank you, Rosanna, for the important updates. It is very important to know about these resources. By finalizing all, we want to say that our mission today is not only the presentation of our problems, but we also want to take this chance to express our gratitude and say thank you to those educators who help us to increase our self-esteem by showing us the right direction to overcome obstacles. One day I was faced with a truly caring and compassionate attitude towards me as a student parent from one of my accounting professors. I do not consider myself a weak person, but once I was in a situation from which I emerged victorious thanks to Professor Norashai. So it was spring 2020 in the midst of COVID-19. That semester has been one of the toughest for all of us. The entire college went online in a very short period of time. So that spring, I took my first online class. I did not expect that I would face an obstacle that I could not overcome by my own. When I first opened the online class on the Canvas page, if I say that I had a shock, I will say nothing. The level of my panic was 20 on a 10-point scale. I didn't know where to start, and my poor knowledge of the language was added to all these problems. Honestly, I decided to drop my class and wrote to the professor about it, arguing that I don't know the language well. It is hard for me to deal with Canvas. I'm not so young person with family and children, and this class is beyond my strength. The professor immediately answered me and said that I would not panic. He explained to me that I do not need to go into different sections of the online class, and if I open the topics in the modules one by one, I will not miss anything. I followed his advice, and after a couple of weeks, I freely navigated through the entire online class page in Canvas. The semester flew by. I closed it with A, and on the last day, I received a personal letter from my professor where he wrote to me, Marina, I want to personally congratulate you on earning an A. Do not ever let the excuse of language barrier or age stop you. Look at this. You did it all yourself. I'm proud of you. Give yourself credit and enjoy your summer. This letter touched my heart. I began to cry because I realized that on the other side of the computer is not just a robot that obliged to run a class and to receive money for it. But first of all, it is an empathic person who helped me, and now he's proud of me. This couple of short sentences made me realize that I really did a great job. I was incredibly satisfied with my work. This is exactly the kind of attitude we would hope to experience in your class: understanding, support, and motivation. Thank you a lot for all of you. Please, Kane, continue.
Thank you, Marina. Teachers teach because they care. That was the day of my final exam of pre-calculus class. In the morning, I found that I was not able to be on time for starting the exam as I needed to drop off my kid to childcare. I informed about that to my professor, who was Narine Frankyan in the math department, one of the most amazing professors in the GCC. I asked her that if I could be late for 20 minutes. Fortunately, she answered, yes, you could join the exam when you come back. Moreover, she added that she gave me an additional 30 minutes to submit my work. Clearly, teaching parenting students may require long hours, patience, and care. Rosanna, you can tell your positive story, please.
Thank you, Gane, for bringing up your positive story. A couple of years ago, I took voice training classes at the GCC's music department, and I would like to keep participating in the class, when suddenly I received a call from my child's elementary school office, and I was informed that I should take my child from the school because she had a minimum date. As a mother, first I would like to take care of my child. I told Dr. Sparfeld that I don't want to miss my class and would like to come and participate in class with my 6-year-old daughter. He allowed me to participate in class with my child. I want to be thankful to my professor from the music department. His name is Tabin Sparfeld. Thank you so much, Professor, for your understanding and for your support. I am so proud of you. Next is Annie.
Thank you, Rosanna. Dear faculty members, dear professors, with this presentation, we didn't only want to show you some challenges we go through as students and parents, but we also want to say thank you for everything you do, for your energy, for your time. You give your heart to your students during your classes, and we really appreciate it. The positive story I want to tell you is about the professor I always look up to, Professor Mary Jane Biancheri. I don't know if she's here or not, but Professor Mary Jane is a role model for me. Professor Mary Jane supports her students any way she can, and once I had to go to her class with my son. He was very young at that time, and there was a preschool problem. Preschool was closed, and I had nobody to take care of him, so I took my chances and took a risk and went to her class with my David. Professor Mary Jane welcomed us and created a supportive atmosphere for my child. That gave me a sense of belonging and acceptance. I want to say a huge thank you to Professor Mary Jane and to all of you for everything you do for us, for your students. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Annie, for bringing up your positive story. Now it will be a pleasure for us to see your comments on chat. What commitment will you make to GCC students and parents today? Please leave your comments on chat. What is one new thing you learned today about student and parents? What is one thing you will do this fall to support the student and parents in your classes? Please leave your comments on chat. I have a comment from Shant Shahoyan. This presentation has been organized, professional, and extremely informative. Thank you to all the wonderful presenters. Thank you for comment, Ani Bagumian. Thank you all. I have a comment also from Elizabeth Kronbeck. I'm going to get the student survey to include questions about parenting, homelessness, and food insecurity so that the college can better understand these issues. Thank you. We are so touched with your comments. Thank you, Marina. From Christopher. Already entered Title IX to one of my Canvas sites. Thank you, Christopher, for your support. Megan, I am going to add Title IX information to my syllabus. Thank you, Sandra Navarro. I have a comment from Margaret Mansur. I don't teach classes, but I will focus specific outreach to students and parents as a counselor. Thank you, Margaret. We will be happy. Shant Shahoyan, I am going to share links to the website shared today so my students know their rights. I have a statement about this in my syllabus, but I want them to know about their rights. Thank you. Nancy Medina has a comment. I have put the Title IX statement in my syllabus, and I will also place an announcement in the class Canvas page. I will also continue to attend student parent club meeting. Thank you, Nancy, for support. Comment from RP Miriam. This is not new, but I learned that parenting students are resilient. I am going to add the Title IX info with my classes. Thank you for the amazing presentation. Thank you, RP. And one more comment from Mirna Najira. Add Title IX information and parenting websites to course information. One more comment from Christopher Herbert. Learned that parenting students are more successful than general population students. I agree. Kevin Mack, I need to be more proactive in communicating with students and in being flexible with deadlines. Helping students and parents helps all students. Thank you, Kevin, for your support. One more comment from Margaret Mansur. I will make sure the Title IX info and resources for parents are on the Garfield Campus Student Service Canvas page. Thank you for information. Michael Falcon, I was surprised to learn that all these students are allowed to complete the classes no matter what. I encourage students to bring their children to class and will have bring your children to class day. I will add the Title IX. I will take your class. Thank you. I have a comment from Paul Vera. I will insert the academic Senate's parenting students language and link to Title IX rights in my syllabus. Thank you. Marina Abrahamian, amazing comments. Thank you. I have a comment from Carla Ruiz. Thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences and helping me learn how to better support and direct student parents to the valuable resources on campus as counselor. Thank you. And Zara also has a comment. Thank you for informative and so important presentation. And thank you, professors, for your support. Thank you. Aaron Edwards, please feel free to ask any question if you have them. I have also a couple comments. I'm Anahit Bodurian. I'm going to add Title IX to my syllabus and the link to students' info parent website. So all our students are aware of their rights. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear professors. We are so proud of you. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to type on chat. We will be happy to answer your question. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great. I just want to say amazing job, Ani, Gayane, Marina, and Ruzana. It's one of the best workshops I've ever been to. Great job.
Thank you.
Very good. We will stick around if anybody has any questions.
I have a question. Sandra Navarro, should I raise my hand? Yay.
Please go ahead, Sandra.
Okay, I was told at one point, and I don't remember how long ago this was, and of course it was while I was still in the classroom, I would always let my students